Good evening, friends and neighbors. My name is Terry Carter, and I'm a writer and a poet. I also have the awesome privilege of directing elder services here at our beloved West Medford Community Center. Welcome to our 18th monthly presentation of First Friday's Words and Music. We are doing work in 2019, and we had a great February show, previewing our exciting Veterans Project and getting another taste of wonderful a cappella music that's coming out of Tufts University these days. It was indeed a memorable evening. So, we're adding to the program archive with Medford Cable Access, and we're still working toward a live broadcast slot on local channels 3 and 47. In the meantime, we are videotaping and live streaming tonight's program on Facebook for folks that are doing the online thing. Props, as always, go out to Yvette Wilkes and Bill Hager for doing the heavy lifting on the production side. If you're out there watching us on your electronic devices, welcome to our show. So tonight is a very special program. In celebration of Women's History Month, on the word side, we are absolutely thrilled to have a unique opportunity to talk with and hear from Medford's newly minted Superintendent of Public Schools. She is historic on many levels, as both the first woman and the first person of color to be named to this key administrative post. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Dr. Marice Edouard-Vincent. Dr. Edouard-Vincent grew up in West Medford, where much of her family still resides. As a child, she attended the Hervey Elementary School, St. Raphael's Parish School, and Arlington Catholic High School, before going on to Wheelock College at Boston University. She began her professional career in the Boston Public Schools, working her way up from substitute teacher to principal, to network superintendent, and then to instructional superintendent. But when former Medford Public School Superintendent Roy Belson announced his retirement, she jumped on the opportunity. It was the first superintendency job for which she applied, and we are so glad she did. She's been on the job for several months now, and I know this community in particular is anxious to have a chat with her, as am I. So, as has become my tradition in starting these conversations, I want to offer a bit of verse to season the discussion. I wrote this brand new piece to pay homage to the notion of establishing a historical legacy for the children of the African American community in Medford and beyond. It remains one of my most fundamental inspirations for my writing. So come on along with me. I'm a poet, and this is what I do. So this piece is called Legacy. It's not for you to tell your own story. That is the burden of your children. They must shoulder this yoke with love and loyalty. And yet, you have not gathered them up and bid them sit before the campfires of their elders. You have not seasoned their meals with the spice of their identity and the savor of their names. How will they walk the walk and talk the talk? How will they learn to tell their stories, even as they live out their own? Sons and daughters and heirs, if you didn't smell the burning ash or feel the warmth of the flame on your neck, you don't know. If you didn't revel in the growl of the griot's earthly reply or the trill of the mockingbird's cry, you don't know. If mama was too tired and daddy too long gone to carry the wood, light the spark, and stoke the flames, you don't know. And until the lion cub knows how to tell the pride stories, the hunters will always tell them first. Now the good book says, train up the child in the way they should go. Will we let them depart from the community of faith or the city on the hill without the master's touch, without the anointing of his oil, without the full measure of his grace? Will we not show them Anansi's clever ways, Popo and Fifina's journey, Mafaro's beautiful daughters, the people who could fly, the wonders of Wakanda and Songololo's new tackies. The prophet says he will encourage fathers and their children to return, but how will they know the way home if no map charts the seas, measures the roads, cites the peaks and valleys, and names each forest despite the thickening trees? Will the burden of the elder stories be too heavy for the children to carry? Will they dare to carry? Will they dare to tarry? Will they linger at the foot of the griot? Will they hunger for the wisdom of the sage? We must put them on the page, where hard work earns the man his wage, where power is measured by God's own gauge, where miracles scoff at the wand of a mage. We must share with them the truth that is loyal and fierce like Naomi and Ruth, that doesn't wait for the confessional booth, that has the bite of the panther's tooth. This is the gift of legacy, where a glorious past sets the captives free, and the candle's light beckons liberty. I bid you sit before the campfires of your elders, hear their stories, gather up their stones, and build up your strength. They will show you Anansi's clever ways, Popo and Fifina's journey, Mafaro's beautiful daughters, the people who could fly, the wonders of Wakanda, and Songololo's new tackies. Soon you will be the herald. Write these things down on the tablets of your spirit. Let them put a running in your feet. With each quickening step, you repel the arrows of the hunter with the shield of abiding faith. You capture the flags of your enemies and gather up their spoils. You remain the lions of your pride, and your tales will always be your children's bread. You will never abandon the community of faith, though you build 1,000 cities on a hill, drawing wondrous strength from the Master's touch, as the oil of his anointing fills your clay jars with his grace. Thank you. So, everybody ready? Okay, let's get into it. So I want to focus tonight's discussion on just who is Dr. Marice Edouard-Vincent. I know that our discussion will also touch on various aspects of your new role in the city, but let's begin at the beginning. Tell us a bit about growing up in West Medford.
Well, to start, I have such wonderful memories growing up here in West Medford. I was just a few blocks up the street at my mom's house. So even as I drove down, I was looking at the kiddie park and just thinking about how many times as a child I would be running down the hill to go to the kiddie park. And, beyond nostalgic, it's just, there's a happiness, there's a warmth. Especially for me being here in West Medford, because these streets here are the streets that I really did walk as a child. And when I think about my childhood and I think about all the opportunities that ended up being available to me, I think it was the strong, solid foundation that I received here that positioned me and prepared me for what I'm doing today. So Medford is a special place. And I know everyone can say it, but I think even living other places and working in other places, you have different experiences, and coming back home, there's something so comforting. It's so natural. You don't have to work at it. It's second nature.
I agree with you. I remember when I first came back home from being away at school for 4 years. I was down in Nashville at Fisk, and I remember how much I missed the smells of West Medford. It has a distinctive smell. I missed the streets, walking up and down the streets. I missed a lot of the people, obviously, but I was actually going to stay down in Nashville and either apply to the English program at Vanderbilt, or maybe I went on this this little adventure at Ohio State and was thinking maybe I'd go and do something over at the Ohio State University. And then I decided, no, I want to go home. So I came home, and I know exactly what you're talking about. So what was your fondest memory of growing up in this neighborhood?
I think my neighbors, my friends, when I think about my childhood, I loved playing border hole. I mean, it may sound silly, but like, you know, running to the telephone poles, it was just, it was so carefree.
Yeah.
You know, when I get off the expressway and I'm on Boston Ave, and it says, you know, welcome to Medford, and on one of the, I guess it's the electrical boxes that are painted, you know, our doors are open or welcome. Like, I just remember you could run to your friends' houses, your neighbors' houses, and the doors were unlocked, the doors were open, and it was carefree. I didn't realize it until I became an adult and lived other places where it was less carefree, and you had to be very careful.
Right.
And you made sure that your door was locked. And so it was little things like that that make you say, like, wow, I never had to worry about that.
Did you ever get called out by anybody else's parents?
We did. We had, so I had wonderful neighbors that, the Douglases, called her Granny, Phyllis Douglas. May she rest in peace.
Hallelujah.
And Sonny Thorne was our neighbor to the right. The Thorns and some of his family members are there as well, but may he rest in peace. But if we were out of line or using inappropriate language, you had neighbors that would check you.
Yes.
And you knew you would get in trouble.
That's right.
So when you think about I am, you know, not just your brother or your sister's keepers, but your neighbors truly watched out for you and made sure that everyone was okay.
Right.
And so, again, if someone was acting up, they would catch you, and your parents found out.
Absolutely. It could get ugly. So you only attended school for a year here in Medford, in West Medford. So what did going to school out of the area, Arlington Catholic?
St. Ray's is on Boston.
That's true. I shouldn't say it like that,
but I only attended public school for 1 year. I attended the Hervey School, which was on Sharon Street, where I grew up. So that was a great experience. I mean, I think, you know, you remember if you have a good experience, and I think being in education for so long, teachers, principals, just, you know, your classmates, and so, you know, the Hervey School was always there, and it was always a happy place. I just remember happy places. It was a happy experience, a happy time. And then even when I continued and went to St. Raphael's for 1st through 8th grade, we would walk.
That's right.
You just walk a few minutes up the street, and you were there, so you were still with neighbors, and you made friends, more friends who were from other parts of the city.
Absolutely.
But I feel my educational foundation in Medford was very solid. And I think going home, I talk about it where both of my parents were custodians at Tufts University.
Okay.
And they really instilled in all of us, my siblings, the 7 of us, you know, the importance of working hard and doing your best.
Absolutely.
And if you want to be something greater or achieve or accomplish greater goals, you have to go to school.
Absolutely.
And so they were always giving us that message, but also our neighbors. How are you doing in school?
Right.
They wanted to know you were getting the honor roll. They didn't want you getting in trouble or getting suspended or into mischief.
Absolutely.
So there were constant reminders. Mrs. Davis, Mrs. Julia Davis had the Girls Club when I was growing up, and that was West Medford's version of the Girl Scouts. She had it at her house and took girls from the neighborhood, and we would cook, we would do, you know, bake, we would do activities, we would do a little Bible study, but it it was just her way of giving back. And I think sometimes, culturally being of West Indian descent, Asian descent, parents wanting to make sure that you were close,
That's
nearby,
right.
and safe.
That's right.
And so those were the things I feel like when I think about my upbringing,
Absolutely.
that it was sheltered being here in Medford, protected, but very nurturing.
That's right. Yes.
And, I think about my upbringing, how I was raised. I don't judge people in terms of whatever they're doing. I know I went to school a lot, but I also know that both of my parents, again, worked hard for what they did. So everyone has a different calling.
That's right.
And so, you shouldn't judge people based on what they're doing.
No, there's dignity in all work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you approach it from a dignified
Yes.
place.
Yes.
A lot of people don't realize that Medford, 10 years before Boston, was the first city in Massachusetts to voluntarily bus to achieve racial balance in the schools. So kids in my generation, we got bused to 3 different schools in Medford, the Waite, the Gleason, and the Dane. And now, the Dane is an administrative office that Tufts has. The Gleason is condominiums, and the Waite is 2 private homes in a small park. So, times change.
Times have changed, and the Herbie,
Yeah,
beautiful condos as well.
condos as well. Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about this, and certainly because of the nature of culture and the way that people raise their children differently. Folks may not all understand the strictness of parents. Were your parents strict?
My father. My mother was the gentle, nurturing one.
Mhm.
My dad was very strict, the disciplinarian,
Yes.
not only of us, but of children and relatives in the neighborhood. So
Uh-huh.
my father was feared,
Yes.
and there were 3 boys and 4 girls.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very attentive, watching the girls especially.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because boys are fresh in Medford. Fresh Medford boys.
my father was the strict one.
Yes.
But thankfully, I was a good listener.
Okay.
Some of my brothers, if you don't hear, then you will feel.
That's right. That's right.
But yes, he was the disciplinarian. But I think there is a place for discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have discipline, you have lawlessness.
Yes. That's right.
And even as I think, if I make an analogy to the schools, we have a code of discipline or a code of conduct.
Right.
And that's the school's way of saying you have to comport yourself, follow these rules, be kind to one another.
Absolutely.
Don't fight, things like that. And if you break those rules, there's a consequence.
Have to be.
So at the school, it's a very, it's a much simpler level. But once you turn 18, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
Because if you're not kind to your neighbor or considerate of them, then at 18 you break laws. And unfortunately, at that point, you're going to be held accountable to rules in the judicial system.
Absolutely.
So I do believe that parents are the ones who have to kind of set the foundation for how you need to comport yourself at home and in society in order to be a successful, productive citizen.
Absolutely. And it ends up being a real luxury to have a community that looks at it that way as well, so that the parents have backup everywhere their child goes.
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so who were some of your role models outside of your home? You know, your mother and your father, obviously. Did you or do you have any mentors? Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that?
So I when I think about the work professionally, I have professional mentors. Dr. Carol Johnson, who was the former superintendent of Boston, she has spoken and mentored me. Janet Palmer Owens, who was a former deputy superintendent. There are Dr. Ingrid Carney. So a lot of Dr. Muriel Leonard. Professionally, I have a lot of women who spoke to me, spoke positively to me about work, about doing your best. And those particular ones that I mentioned were all women of color.
Yes.
That struggled against the odds.
That's right.
And just kept persevering and were able to achieve success. And I feel like they looked back and just kept saying, do your best, keep going, keep on, keeping on. So I feel those were some women, but I also had men.
Okay.
I had, people who continued to speak to me. I had John McDonough, who was one of the former superintendents of Boston as well. I had Joseph Shea, Mr. Shea, who was a principal that I had worked with. And I think as I was going through my career, I was looking at people that I was working under them and looking at their strengths and kind of aspiring to see what they were doing. So a lot of my colleagues, Albert Taylor is operational superintendent in Boston and has ties in Medford on Monument Street. And Ed Lee, there were a lot of people that I have worked with that I have good relationships with,
yes,
even though I'm no longer working in that district, but we still speak, and countless colleagues. Those are the ones that come to mind that I can reach out and touch. But I also have, if I'm not talking directly about my immediate family, but my godmother,
yes,
who and her sister, they were on Sharon Street as well. But I had just common people. My godmother was a pediatric nurse for over 30 years at Mass General. She's retired now. But just having women and men, people speaking into my life
absolutely,
all the time, kind of like cheerleaders, motivating you and just saying, do your best, you can do more. So those are the people that I think about. And I also have over the years, I currently, I know I didn't say it, but I currently attend Jubilee Christian Church, which was formerly New Covenant. And when I started going there in the mid-90s, they had something called a cell group, and it was a group of 10 to 12 people who lived in a geographic region. And you would get together once a week and you would just pray and support each other. So if you were having a problem at home, and many of those people, one of my very good friends, Sister Lucienne, we've been good friends for 19 years and prayer partners. So a lot can happen in 19 years.
absolutely.
I had children, etc., and life goes on and you support each other through the ups and through the downs of life. And so I consider her as someone who also has, deposited into me and helps to keep me grounded,
Yes,
and doing the work.
absolutely, absolutely. My wife and I were cell leaders, as a matter of fact, in Dorchester. So we had a group for a couple of years that met at our house, and it was a wonderful way to establish community in such a big church. Services of 1,200 people. It's just hard for everybody to know everybody.
Yes,
But
exactly.
you can know somebody.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely. So, favorite books when you were growing up? I know you were a reader. You had to be a
I
reader.
did read.
Yeah.
And, when I was growing up, or at the end of high school, I was in like a reading, I guess that's a little nerdy, but I was in a book reading club in high school, and I ended up really liking science fiction. I know...
I'm not mad at you.
Now everyone's like, oh, but I just remember... I want to say Jennifer Roberson. I used to read, she had a series. But at that time when we were reading outside of reading, the academic books, it was competitive.
Right.
So it was how many pages, if it was 300 pages, it was like, this will be done by Monday. We were like, yes. Uh-huh. And so I laugh when you say that because I was like, wow. Yeah. I really, I do enjoy reading different types of genres. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy reading poetry, and even as I would read academic books, writing, you're a poet. And an author.
Yeah, you need all of those.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to add all of those to your library.
You're a poet and an author. And one of the craft of writing, it's a special craft. And I feel it's a gift and it's a skill. If you are able to write a book where people don't feel like it's work to read, to read that particular book, then you've really achieved that level. And I feel like when you're reading something and it's easy, you don't even feel like you're reading. You don't feel like you're reading.
It's not a chore.
It's not a chore. And so even in educational books, sometimes some of them are very dense, and I had a lot of books to read, and some of them, the way the authors wrote. One of the most recent books that I was reading was Zaretta Hammond, Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain, and I had the opportunity to hear her speak, and she's an African-American author. At the time she was in Boston and talking about trauma. She's all over the country, West Coast, everywhere, but she was, the way she writes and what she was talking about, she made it easy for you to understand, and it didn't feel like it was work. And so I think that that's a special gift or a craft, and it's something that, being here in Medford, as people are learning about writing, kids are learning, that you don't want it to feel like work, you don't want it to feel like a chore, so that they develop this love of reading. And, just today, I have to share, I was at the McGlynn Elementary School.
Okay.
They were celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday, and so I got to read Green Eggs and Ham.
One of my all-time favorites.
But I was reading to all the third grade classrooms in the library, and the kids were so excited. It's, a rhyming book, and I was reading parts of it, and they were actually chanting it back and saying it with me, and they were excited, and I was just like, wow, I was on a natural high. I was so excited to see the kids excited. And then I ended up reading another book to them, Grace for President, which is about a little girl, African-American girl who ends up running for president of her class.
Wow. Okay.
And she wins by 1 electoral vote. But it's a wonderful story, and the kids were just so excited. They, asked questions, and they were eager to learn, and it's that excitement. I think that's what kind of has always driven me in my work, whether I was a teacher or a school-based administrator, or now at central office as a leader of a district. That it was never about me, it was always about the children.
Absolutely.
And so,
So, what was it that influenced kind of the academic decisions you made, undergraduate and graduate school-wise?
So undergrad, when I was in high school, I you know, as we said earlier, I went to parochial school for 12 years,
Mhm.
and, you know, I received all my sacraments, and I was very actively involved in the Catholic Church
Mhm.
growing up.
Okay.
And I did teach CCD, and I was a Eucharistic minister for those of you who are Catholic. And I would go, when I went to college, Wheelock was located right across from Emmanuel, and I would go visit the sick, and I would, you know, at the hospital, bring them communion and do
Yes.
things, but I was always trying to serve.
Mhm.
I felt like I always had a calling to serve.
Wonderful.
And when I taught CCD, I found that I was very happy.
Okay.
You know, going to parochial school, you have a very strict education. It's, yes, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but you also learned about religion
Sure.
and were taught about, you know, social justice
Mhm.
and serving others. And I always felt like when I was in high school, you know what, Marice, continue to do this.
Okay.
And that's what pushed me to go to Wheelock. At
Okay.
the time, it was an independent college.
Right.
Now it is part of BU.
Mhm.
And I went to a teacher's college, and when I was there, the message again there was about social justice, giving back, and making a difference.
Sure.
And so when I was there, I took the education track,
Mhm.
and I also took the child life track. So I was had a double concentration, and child life was, I would describe it as ministering to sick children.
Mhm.
It wasn't quite social work, but you would go to hospitals, and in the pediatric units, you would be in the playrooms. And so having that double major or double concentration, I was doing both. I would work weekends at Mass General on the PD units, and I would work with children who were sick,
Mhm.
and then I would do my internships, my practicums in school settings, and I chose education. I still, you know, have a heart for children who are in the hospital and who are sick, but, you know, that's a very, very heavy
Absolutely.
job,
That's right.
because seeing young people not make it if they were suffering from CF and cancer, which many of my kids that I worked with had, and some of them didn't make it, that I realized, you know, that was very difficult. And so I really felt like I'm gonna go and pursue the educational track
Mhm.
and do my best and make a positive impact in the lives of the children every day while I taught them.
Mhm. You come by your calling, honestly. Yeah, you really do. So some of the things that you learned in college, outside of the textbooks, what life lessons have really stuck with you?
One of the things that I think stuck with me when I attended Wheelock, it was predominantly a female college.
Mhm.
And so I think I learned a little bit about girl power. But that don't limit yourself.
Okay.
And that if you try your best
Mhm.
and you do your job, you really do your job, then nothing can hold you back. And I feel like when I was at college, some of my friends that I made in college, we still are in contact today. We
Okay.
encourage each other.
Yes.
And again, just realizing being at a college that specialized in early childhood education and social work, those
Yes.
are like the major,
That's right.
and child life, it wasn't about, you know, going or pursuing money.
Mhm.
It was about going to make a difference,
Okay.
depending which path you chose. And so I have good friends who are social workers,
Mhm.
and, you know, it's about making a difference in the lives of
Absolutely.
others.
Absolutely.
And, you know, thinking about how I was raised, thinking about my schooling, but also thinking about teaching teaching is something I would do, or being in education, even if I wasn't being compensated, I would still do it.
I see. Wow, that's a profound statement. In terms of educational administration, what events or situations have helped to formulate your approach?
So, and I guess I didn't answer you when you asked me a little earlier about, so I taught, and as I was teaching, I was very hands-on, very communicative.
Okay.
I was in drama in high school and in college, so I'm a little dramatic sometimes. You don't always get to see it, but my students and my colleagues who worked with me would get to see my dramatic side. But I think I had a way, I had very, very strong parental engagement.
Okay.
It was an expectation, and I was very confident about my abilities. And I feel like maybe my being at Wheelock and being at a strong school, like all of that impacted the work that I did. But when I was teaching, Joe Shea, one of the administrators that I mentioned, who mentored me, when I went to pursue my first master's, which was in media technology, he said, Marice, you need to do the administrative track. And I kind of blew him off and said, hey, I'm getting my master's in media tech. I'm going to be using technology. And just wait and see what I'm going to do. And he came back and was like, no, you have good relationships with parents. Your colleagues respect you. You're a team player. And so he pushed me and said, you need to go get your license. And so I ended up going back to school to get a second master's, and that's when I got an MED and got a master's in school leadership and administration. And I kept saying, oh, I'm going to do that 10 years, 15 years later.
Down the road.
And as soon as I ended up finishing that degree, I ended up being promoted, or, my colleagues were like, no, you need to become the next assistant principal. So I was an assistant principal for 2 years before I ended up launching to become a principal. And so one of the things when I talk to people and I say about the importance of education, education is never wasted. And even if something is given to you and taken away, you may take away a title, you can take away and say, I'm taking a diploma away, but the knowledge that you received can never be taken away. And so I encourage people to go to school, even if you're not using the additional degree, or if it's a specific skill, to go to school, get educated, have it there. So when the opportunity comes, you have the qualifications to step into that role.
Absolutely.
So all the time when I went to school, it was almost as if I already had the credentials. It was there. And so it was up to me to decide whether I would take a step of faith and kind of go out there or not. And say I'm not going to do it because I didn't have the confidence or felt like I couldn't do it. So I when I think about the path that I took, and being an administrator and then seeing the work and realizing, as a principal, when you're the lead learner and you're guiding your teachers, you need to kind of stay ahead, because as a teacher, you cannot be looking at your curriculum the same day and teaching your children, the students the same day. You have to read the text, be familiar with it, understand what it's about, then you're able to teach it at the best levels to the students, to the children. So I always kind of felt like you need to be a lead learner. Pursue knowledge so that you're able to take that knowledge and give it back out in a way that people can receive it. Similar to what I was saying earlier about how people write, that you want to draw in the audience. The same way when you watch TV. sometimes you can't wait for the next episode if you're watching a series that you really like, because the writers, the actors, they've been able to draw you in. You're like on the edge of your seat. And I feel the same way, like as an educator or as a lead educator, as a superintendent, I have to kind of know, okay, what is it that I want everyone to understand? Think about it and really be thoughtful in terms of how I'm going to deliver that information so that people end up saying, I want more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Fantastic. So, as I was reading about your background and what you were bringing to the city of Medford as a superintendent, I was really struck by your guiding principles, the things that keep you grounded in your educational work. And you use the acronym ACE, and it's academic achievement for all, collaboration for all, and equity for all. And I won't make you go through chapter and verse, so to speak. But how did you kind of come up with that as a foundation for how you want to lead?
So when I think about myself, how I would learn, when I would study, no matter what the content was, one of the strategies that would work for me would be to look at the text and try to come up with a word. That worked for me. Everyone has, flashcards. I would use those, but I was saying to myself, what are my pillars? What are my core values?
Okay.
If you're in education, you have to believe in achievement. You have to have high standards. I felt like that was a given. But not only do you have to believe in education and high standards, but you truly have to believe that all students can learn.
Absolutely.
Because even when you're teaching 20 or 25 students in front of you, you're going to have that bell curve. You're going to have the students that are, operating above grade level. You're going to have the students that are on grade level. Then you're going to have the students that are struggling. They may have special needs. They may be new to the country, an English language learner.
Absolutely.
So you have to think, how am I going to get all of them to move?
That's right.
So I'm always thinking, like, if as a teacher, I only believed that my 5 students that were operating above grade level, or that I was only there to educate those that understood and not those that didn't get it,
Right.
Sorry. If I had that, then you wouldn't be able to make an impact.
Right.
You have to believe that you can move the entire class. Everyone may not move the same distance,
Right.
but they're going to move a distance that's appropriate for them.
Okay.
So you can't have students make a 1.5 year growth, 2 years growth in 1 year. And you could have another student who only makes a half year of progress. But I would always say to my students, as long as you're doing your best.
That's right.
And even as I spoke to parents, I would say, okay, is so-and-so giving me their best? And that's all I could ask.
Sure.
Is for the best. So when I thought about ACE, I was like, achievement, academics.
Sure.
Like that has to be part of the formula, what I believe.
Absolutely.
Collaboration. I am not, I don't see myself as an alpha. I see myself as part of the team.
Okay.
So, I know people think of a wolf pack or whatever, but I do believe in the power of the team.
Sure.
And as an administrator, I always believed that if I was by myself, I couldn't do it alone. You have to be, you need a team, and that's how I work with the team. Who's my team? And it doesn't matter what your role is, as long as you're part of the team and we all agree that we're moving in one direction.
Absolutely.
And so when I talk about collaboration for all, I talk about, in my mind, I envisioned collaboration between teachers, collaboration between principals, collaboration between students, collaboration between parents, collaboration at all levels.
Sure.
And cross collaboration.
Absolutely.
Always working together in agreement toward one goal.
I love it.
So that's when I thought of the C, that's what it was. That's Marice.
Okay.
The E for equity, equity doesn't mean equal, because we're all unique, we're all individual. And so when I was talking about, students learn at different rates, and you
Sure.
can't say, well, you didn't get it. But equity in terms of trying to be fair. And if someone needs a little more, then this one may get a little more help. And if this one can do it independently, then being able to make the necessary accommodations, whether not worrying about what end of the spectrum you were on. So whether you had high needs, and you had gaps that had to be, or you were high needs in terms of, overachiever, independent learner, I would push you accordingly as well. So when I think about equity, I think about let's try to be fair, meet you where you're at, and move you to the next level.
Yeah. It's like in giving, we talk about not necessarily equal gifts, but equal sacrifice.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
Very good, very good. So, what was it about the opportunity to come lead the Medford Public Schools that kind of got you on fire?
After I was in Boston, my official answer is that I'm still 29 years old. But, I had worked very hard for 24 years in Boston Public. And even my mentors were saying, you've been a network superintendent now for, 5 years. And thinking about branching out. And as I had said, knowing that I had, by that time I had already had my doctorate from BC, so I already had the credentials. And it was a question of, am I ready to step out? And when Medford came up, it was like, wow. Because I had colleagues who were going for other districts that had open positions. And I had many colleagues that are superintendents in surrounding cities that I worked with. And they were like, yeah, you should definitely do it.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I don't want to go for a city just for the sake of going for the city. Because I know what the job is. And I know that I can do the job. I have confidence in my abilities. However, I felt like I needed to be connected. So whatever districts I would look at or consider, it had to be a district that I felt I could personally connect to. And if I could personally connect with the district, then you had me. But if I could not connect, then going through the interview process, you would be able to pick up that I wasn't connecting and that it was just a job. And I didn't want just a job. I wanted to make a difference.
So you talked about going to the McGlynn School, and you talked about reading to the students there. Have you been able to visit many of the other schools in the district?
Yes, I've been to all the schools.
Oh, wow.
I love being in the field. I wish I could be in the field more, but I get called back to central office and I'm like, oh. But I love being in the field because I feel like seeing the children, they inspire me. Seeing the teachers, I get inspired by them. I get excited. I start thinking about, let's see. I'm always thinking about strategies and ways and how are they reaching the kids. So that's, I don't know, that's what keeps me motivated and excited to get up every day and come and do the work.
Fantastic. So I was talking with my ED, Bill Hager, about how the West Medford Community Center and the schools could have more of a connection. And one of the things that we discussed is having the center be a place where students could come to learn about the history of this community through the prism of things like the Afro-American Remembrance Project, the Elder Project, and the Black Veterans Project that we're currently working on. We're trying to figure out how to make these kinds of connections happen in the system. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's wonderful. I mean, as a child, I came to the original community center, which was only one story, for those of you who remember. And this is definitely a much more beautiful facility, but there were still so many fond memories of the old community center. This would be a wonderful opportunity for students to come to learn about Medford's history. You know, Medford has one of the oldest African American communities in the United States.
Right after the Civil War.
And so that's, you know, that's like phenomenal history. I mean, my parents came to the States in 1965, emigrated from Haiti, but they came to Medford in 1969. And so, you know, I guess I'm a newcomer, but
your grandfather.
But the history here, you know, this is Duggar Park. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the Andrew School, and for the kids to be able to know that this is also part of Medford's history. You know, to formalize a partnership would be wonderful. And Medford is very diverse.
Absolutely.
Yesterday, I was probably with about 60 students that met for diversity. And we have CCSR, which it wasn't hosted by CCSR, but it was hosted. It was made available to all of the students.
Okay.
And there were about 60 students, and the whole topic, it was table talks about diversity. And the room was diverse.
Okay.
And it was like, wow. And children were, I shouldn't say children, young adults, because they were high schoolers, were having conversations, and teacher facilitators were at each group. And so even that group of students, or creating opportunities with looking at the curriculum and seeing what are ways that we could have students come to just look at all the historical information that's here, all of the faces, and say, like, these are our heroes here in Medford.
Well, we would be happy to host students coming to the community center to learn about the history of this community. So I'm just putting it out there in the atmosphere.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't have an awful lot of time left. So as we close, what would you like to share with our live audience, as well as the folks who are joining our live stream, and those who may see this broadcast on Medford Community Media down the road a piece?
Well, I hope today I was able to share a little bit about me, Marice, the person, and my love for Medford, my commitment to education, and to providing all students with a quality education to set them up for success tomorrow, whether they go the college route or they choose the vocational route, but to let our children have options to be successful. And I feel like that's my drive, that's my push. My core values are ACE, achievement, collaboration, and equity. And the decisions that I make in the district and how I'm going to do my work is always going to be about bringing high achievement for all our students, collaborating with all stakeholders, and trying to do it through an equity lens with fairness for all. So I hope that you feel like you know me a little better. And I look forward to continued partnership with all of you.
So it's been delightful. I so appreciate you coming and sitting with us. I do want to acknowledge that the mayor's back there, come to support her superintendent.
And school committee member.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paulette,
Thank you. That's right, Paulette.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. So that about does it for the words portion of our gathering tonight. Dr. Edouard-Vincent, thank you so much for your thoughtful and informative responses and perspectives in tonight's conversation. I hope that we've raised the level of awareness of the fact that there's a new sheriff at the Medford Public Schools, and she is a bright, well-experienced, innovative, and progressive woman of color. That's history, ladies and gentlemen, and we're proud of the fact that it's a legacy that our children will be able to hold on to for years to come. Okay, so my friends, as we collectively wish Dr. Marice Edouard-Vincent all the best in her key leadership position, thanks so much for your attentiveness and your interest in this part of our discussion. We are now going to shift back to a lyrical groove and get into the heart of our music for the evening. As the technical team moves things around a little bit, I'll be back to adequately introduce our guests for the musical portion.
Before we break,
Please.
let them know about next month. That's very exciting.
Okay. So I'm doing my commercial. I usually do it at the beginning. I'm doing it at the end this time. Next month, April is very near and dear to my heart. It's National Poetry Month. So I get to show off a little bit, and I'm not mad about that. But we're going to have a very interesting discussion because we're going to speak with young people about poetry first. And then I'm going to have the opportunity to do poetry to music with Richard Lawrence. And when we get together, we have a nice little groove, so it should be fun to listen to. So we hope you'll all come back out and invite some friends. We like the room to be full, and the poetry is going to be good. Hot, tasty, and spicy. Okay. All right. A puppy a treat, they're always going to want another treat. So we've got some additional treats that we're going to give out. So here's my story, I'm sticking to it. So a funny thing happened on the way to putting together tonight's program. A few days ago, Amber Ace, a recent Berkeley graduate and a wonderful young artist who was supposed to perform for us this evening, she took sick with a nasty sinus infection, probably the flu. So Bill and I went into full contingency planning and began calling folks to try and get another great female performer for this wonderful audience. And now when I tell you that we got turned down about a dozen times, I'm not exaggerating. Talented folks are busy, and you got to give them time to put you on their calendars. Fast forward to yesterday. A colleague of my wife at the Harvard Medical School suggested that we speak to Jonathan Wu. He's in the marketing office at Berkeley Presents, which is the performance outreach arm of the school. We did. Mr. Wu was great. He got in touch with a bunch of Berkeley folk, and at the 11th hour, he messaged me that he found an available performer for us. Now, at the same time, I've been talking to Saida Rivers, and she had graciously consented to come out to perform, even though she hates performing without a lot of notice. So my hope is that Saida will come out and perform with us again down the road a piece, but I think she understood my dilemma and gracefully allowed us to proceed. Long story short, First Fridays is proud to bring to our stage vocalist Alana Olatunde, accompanied by Jaden Graves on the keys. I will let her speak further on the collaboration if she cares to. But suffice it to say that both are current students at Berkeley. I've heard Alana sing, and I'm thrilled that she was able to come join us, especially on such short notice. I know that she writes and performs her own original music, but that she also honors the jazz greats, and she's a trained singer of both operatic and classical music. You folks are in for a treat, your second one of the night. Let's give a warm West Medford welcome to Berkeley's own Alana Olatunde and Jamie Jones.
I don't like to talk too much, but I'll see for you guys. The next song we're gonna do is called So Beautiful. It's by Music Soul Child. I guess now I can talk more. I'm a little less nervous. I come from a background, I'm Nigerian American, yeah, and I was raised in a way just to embrace my culture, and someone, you know, who's also in, you know, that realm with me is Sade. I really love her so much. You know, her music is so good, and I grew up with parents that just really poured her music into me. So I just want to share that with you all today. We're gonna do Cherish the Day. This is my prayer. Oh, if you are mine, if you are mine, I wouldn't want to go to heaven. Ooh, cherish the day. I won't go astray. No, I won't be afraid. You won't catch me running. Oh, cherish the day. Yeah, I won't go astray. Oh no, I won't run away. Won't catch me running. In the way that I move, and I breathe your air. Oh, only can rescue me. Oh, this is my prayer. Ooh, 'cause if you were mine, if you were mine, oh, I wouldn't want to go to heaven. Ooh, cherish the day, yeah. I won't go astray. No, I won't run away. You won't catch me running. I cherish the day. Ooh, I cherish the day. Oh, I cherish the day. I won't go astray. I won't be afraid, no. You won't catch me running. Ooh, yeah. Cherish the day. You can take a solo, Jay. You can take a solo. lot of time in the Boston area this summer, and a song that came up all the time was Daydreaming by Aretha Franklin. I really love that song, so I'm gonna do that. He's actually from Memphis, so you know. Knows what he's doing. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. 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 He's the kind of guy that you give you everything. Oh, he's the kind of guy that would say, hey baby, let's get away, let's go someplace, huh? Well, I don't care. He's the kind of guy that you give you everything, trust your heart, share all of your love, till death do you part. I wanna be what he wants, when he wants it, and whenever he needs it. And when he's lonesome and feeling lost, I'll be there to feed him. Loving him a little bit more each day, it turns me right on when I hear him say, hey baby, let's get away, let's go somewhere far. Baby, can we? Well, I don't care. Hey baby, let's get away, let's go somewhere far. Oh, well, I don't care. I wanna be what he wants, when he wants it, and whenever he needs it. And when he's lonesome and feeling lost, I'll be there to feed him. Loving him a little bit more each day, it turns me right on when I hear him say, hey baby, let's get away, let's go somewhere far. Oh, where I don't care. Oh, no, no. Hey baby, let's get away, let's go somewhere far. Baby, can we? Ooh. Oh, daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming, daydreaming now. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Thinking of you. All right, on to the next. This song is called Into Orbit. It's by a woman named Alex Isley. She's the daughter of the Isley brothers. I think Ronald is her dad. But I really like her style. It's very new, and you can hear her influence by her parents. I enjoy it. Grab hold of my hand, I feel you understand me. Decide what you want, and then I will make it real indeed. Don't say time to go. despair, fight feelings, and it's obvious that we both care. So take me to the moon. I wanna be with the stars. Send me yeah, into orbit. Ooh. Oh, send me into orbit. You're right, tell the truth, baby. I could just get lost in them. Sorry, yeah, if I stare as we stand face to face again. Yes, I'm pretty shy, but you make me so outspoken. I'm filled without words, waiting now to talk with you. I wanna be with the stars. Oh, send me out, send me into orbit. Oh yeah, send me out into orbit. Oh yeah, send me into orbit. Oh. Love every moment of the day and teach our children not to lie. And maybe one day we'll fly up. Precious day lights your way. Spread your wings, oh, stay away. You're the sun in my sky, under the fly. Oh, so take me to the moon. I wanna be your, I wanna be your. Send me into orbit. Send me, yeah, send me into orbit. Oh, send me into orbit. just played for me a lot. This inspires me. You chose her 'cause she's sweet as pie. Take what you give, even your lies. But baby, are you happy without me? She scrubs your back, washes your clothes, gives you everything that you ask for. But don't you ever want more, 'cause my love is deeper, tighter, sweeter, higher, fire. Didn't you know this? Or didn't you notice that my love is deeper, tighter, sweeter, higher, fire. Didn't you know this? Or didn't you know this? What we have don't need no words, yeah. Deeper than anything you ever heard. I ain't reaching, baby, yeah. I know I should be a lady, oh. You say you're happy, you say you're great, but you know, and I know, you really ain't. You need to come be with me. That's the way it's supposed to be. Didn't you know? My love is deeper, tighter, sweeter, higher, fire. Didn't you know? Didn't you know? My love is deeper, tighter, sweeter, higher, fire. Didn't you know this? Or didn't you know Okay, we have for you next Misty. I mean, not Misty, I'm sorry. Afro Blue. Sorry. overland my soul is from. I hear a hand stroke on the drum. Hey, hey, shades of delight, cocoa hue. Oh, rich as the night, Afro blue. Two lovers dance face to face with undulating grace. They gently sway and slip away to some secluded place. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, Afro blue. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, Afro blue. Elegant, bold, beautiful girl, dancing for joy, delicate world. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, Afro blue. Two lovers dance face to face with undulating grace. Jealous sway and slip away to some secluded place. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, Afro blue. Dream of a land my soul is from. Oh, 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 I hear a hand stroke on the drum. Oh, oh. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, Afro blue. We're gonna do Lovely Day by Bill Williams. So I hope you like it. When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world is alright with me. Hey. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day, 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 oh, lovely day, lovely your face when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, yeah. Then I look at you and the world is alright with me, yeah. Oh, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day, 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 oh, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, yeah, lovely day. When I wake up in the morning, love, oh, when I wake up in the morning, love, ooh, I just look at you, and the world is alright with me, alright with me, alright with me. Just one look at you, whoa, and I know it's gonna be, yeah, you can sing it with me, a lovely day, yeah, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Come on, sing it with me, sing it with me, sing it with me, lovely day, 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 oh, ooh, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, a lovely, lovely day. All it takes is one look at you. All it takes is one look at you, and I know it's gonna be, it better be a lovely We got one more song for you.
Okay.
We do Great is Thy Faithfulness. I believe in that. I really do. God has given me so much mercy and given me so much grace. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassion, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Oh, morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings all mine, 10,000, beside. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Oh, morning by morning, oh, new mercies I see. Great is thy faithfulness, oh, great is thy faithfulness, oh, morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hands already provided. Ooh, great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Amen. Amen.
It's always so much fun. This is what I love so much. Thank you. Give it up for Leah. She's very
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program for the evening. I want to just say thank you and bless you to Alana Olatunde, Jaden Graves, Berkeley College of Music, and to you for coming out tonight. I want to say a big thank you and a shout out once again to Dr. Marice, Edouard-Vincent. And we hope to see you again in April when we'll do it one more time. Taking a slightly different direction, but it'll be good, I promise you. All right, good night, everybody. Let's all take a picture. Yes. You bet. We'll take some flips. Bill, you got some flips? Okay, good.
He made me feel better. Excuse me, him. Beautiful. I have other ones. Will you take this picture, please? Wait. No,
What do you want me to do?
take the picture. I mean,
That's what you gotta say. If you smile. There you go.
Nice to see you. Are you still playing piano? And you're
So much. I know you saw it over there. Please stay.
too,
It's not too well.
right?
Very good.